I wrote down right out of the gates, shot fired. What does he say? Natalie likes to spend the night with me. She sends me messages that says, F me. And that's the first thing he says.
Mm-hmm.
I can't stand this man. I can't
He's like,
stand
and I'm
him.
like,
Listener discretion advised. Adult language and mature content.
okay, welcome back, everybody. It is Two Queens, One Screen. I'm Jen.
I'm Keeley.
And I'm holding Mr. Brown, who is so beautiful. And he has brand new, tiny little balls that I made Keeley look at a second ago.
He's our special guest.
He's our special guest because he's out of effing control. Another week of I'm sorry. We're going to hear kittens in the background. And while gender is a construct, these cats are the first time that I've ever just had a bunch of little boy cats, and it is different. They are all fighting and roughhousing and ruining my life.
As men generally do.
I love them, though. I keep inviting them into my house. And I just cuddle them.
No.
And they just shit on it's the messiest kitty litter box. Like, it's sad.
Oh, no.
So last week we had fun with true crime. And this week we were so excited because we were going to get the finale of the 90 Day Fiancé Last Resort Tell-All. And then we learned, no, we don't.
No, we don't. We didn't.
No. What did you text me?
I texted you. There's a part 4 and a lot of F words.
Yeah.
And I threw a little fit at my house.
Yeah, I think I was in bed, actually, when you sent me that text. I was like, motherfucker. And Matt's like, what? Oh my God, what's happened? And I was like, there's a part 4. And he's like, no!
Exactly.
So, does that seem like an overreaction?
Yes.
Maybe. But also, it's upsetting.
It is. We just discussed we technically didn't need this episode, people. It could have just been crammed into one, but okay.
And here's the real bullshit of it all. I'm genuinely excited for the next episode. They won me over. This one we are gonna run through because we all know what tonight's really about.
Yes.
I have been waiting for this forever. You've been waiting for this forever. We have never been able to talk about the Valley in real time together.
Yeah.
And now we can. And I'm so excited. And so we're going to zoom through this, and then we will be going into season 2, episode 1. And it's going to be awesome. But we're just going to hit the highlights of Tell-All Part 3, which started with Florian and Stacey. Again, we are going to... It's like reheated food. Like, we have reheated this issue.
Yeah.
So did Florian cheat again on Stacey with the lady that Darcy called him out about? The answer is probably not.
No.
But then the fun part of that was, who thinks that Florian will cheat again? And everyone raised their hand.
Florian is great TV. I don't think Florian will cheat again, although he is himself Team Florian.
Yeah.
And he really doesn't think he's ever done anything wrong. And will not take responsibility for anything. However, this Miami blonde girl story thing is really a dead horse, and we don't need to talk about it again. I don't think he did anything wrong. I don't think he cheated on Stacey just walking this drunk girl home. But I don't think they had anything really to talk about also.
No.
So we talk about Ari and Bini, and they still have not got a divorce. This is why I don't think they have a divorce, is because he still needs to have someone provide for him, right? Don't they have that 10-year whatever K1 thing that someone has to pay for them, right? And you can't get a divorce in the middle of that, right?
I think you can, but you're still financially tied.
Oh,
right?
okay. Okay.
Right? My guess is that her not divorcing him means she doesn't have set what she's responsible for him for. Like, maybe it's on her. Like, it's actually protecting her not to do it yet, because that will actually set her up to have like this is what I need. You know, when like people get divorced and they settle on their own. I don't think that she gets the benefit of settling and going like, you've got your property, I've got my property. She would then have to probably be giving him allowance no matter what, because she's supposed to be supporting him in the United States. So
Okay.
that's my guess.
Okay. All right. Well,
Paperwork means nothing. He's an artist. He's an entertainer. He doesn't need that
he
admin
says that
shit.
quite a bit. Yes.
And we learned that apparently she's basically still working as his manager. He calls her every day to get help with this stuff. Highlights from that are finally he admits, yes, he cheated on Ari while she was pregnant.
Yes. It took a couple of times, Sean, to ask him, I think twice.
Like, it's a yes or no.
Yep.
Didn't you cheat on Ari while she was pregnant? And he
Yeah.
did finally say, yes, I did. Oh, God, I dragged this out. This is so obnoxious. I can see why Ari felt so crazy. I also think that my favorite part of that is when Ari then looks directly at Rob and the other guys, and she's very pointed at Rob, and she's like, isn't it interesting how none of you brought the same energy for Binnie that you have brought to Jasmine? She's cheated, and you're all screaming at her, you're all calling her a whore, and Binnie, you just go, isn't that interesting? And I loved that.
And what does Rob say? I don't know if he actually cheated, but I look at her and I can tell he cheated. Oh, that's a typical man answer. I don't know if he really cheated. A way to stick with your bro. Nice.
It's this really effed up.
Yeah.
You were screaming at Jasmine before she did anything.
Yeah.
And I do appreciate that she called that out. And then also everyone was like, oh my God, he finally admitted to it. And go, yeah, we really should have been nicer to you. And so I think she finally gets some validation with that, which I really like. Her mom comes in.
Apparently they lived with her mom for quite a while, so her mom had a little bit of context on their relationship. They asked how were they as a couple, and she said in the beginning they were really great and cute together, and then I saw it kind of dissolve. And watching that was hard. Then they asked her mom, what do you think about this whole passwords thing? Do you think it was necessary? Mom said, it really didn't accomplish anything, but I know why Ari did that. And do you want to explain why Ari did that?
So it's because Binnie is getting on these things, and there's a certain kind of woman that is attracted to, he's on TV.
Yeah.
And then when things don't really go as planned, then they start, he was cheating on Ari. And then they start basically going like, then give me money or else I'm going to tell everybody what you've been up to. I've got all the facts. So he was a couple of the times that he's like cheating on Ari. He's literally getting extorted for money. Like he's getting shaken down by people on the internet.
Yeah.
And so Ari, the whole time, Ari is on this show. She's trying to explain to everyone he cheated on me.
Yes.
But then also he said, please don't tell everyone about me getting swindled.
Yeah.
And so she's actively protecting him from that part of it and not saying anything. And she's like, just admit that you cheated on me. He won't do it, but she's still protecting him. She still, I think, genuinely cares about him. Everyone's coming down on her and be like, why did you have the password? And she never says anything until he finally tells the truth. It was very satisfying, but also my heart just breaks for her again. She really went above and beyond for him. And she's still doing it. I really think I need to stop being at his beck and call for this stuff. And she does seem like she's doing better. It seems like her focus is in the right place. I think she sees what she's got to do.
Knew the entire season watching. I knew there was something up. I knew there was something wrong. They didn't even give her the slightest chance. No one befriended her. I mean, she talked about a little bit with Julia, They thought they were friends and they had that little thing, but no one gave her the time of day to make her feel like they were friends, that she could even open up and be intimate and say, yeah, this is what's really going on, maybe off camera, and say,
Right.
this is why I have his passwords. They could have a connection and be friends, and she could tell the truth to someone. No one gave her the time of day on that show at all. And it was really hard to watch. And she was completely shunned. She didn't deserve that at all.
These are all emotionally immature people.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's not, honestly, that's not who you want to be
No.
surrounded with anyway.
We go to Natalie and Josh. I know.
So again, they just, what's it called? They're edging us. They're giving us just enough.
Just
to be
enough.
So close, and then they're like, next time.
Yep. Josh comes
Oh.
right out the gate. I wrote down right out of the gates, shot fired. What does he say? Natalie likes to spend the night with me. She sends me messages that says, F me. And that's the first thing he says.
Mm-hmm.
I can't stand this man. I can't
He's like,
stand
and
him.
I'm a guy. I can't help myself. Okay. If she's so crazy and insane, stop dating her.
Here's the thing. He says it was a moment of weakness. Okay. Natalie sends him a text message. It says, F me. Natalie sends him a nude picture. Okay. Josh has a choice. Natalie made choices. She chose to send pictures and she chose to send text messages. Josh made a choice to go have sex with her. They both made choices, but what he's saying is it's all her fault. That's what he's doing.
This is that we talked about this during the season. It's this weird thing where they're both participating. Mm-hmm. They're both keeping it going. And you suck, and you suck, mm-hmm. and you suck, and you mm-hmm. suck. And it's like, you don't have to keep engaging in this. You right. don't have to keep pedaling this bicycle. He's trying to make her look like this awful person.
Right.
You don't want to keep getting those text messages. You don't want to fall into her vagina.
Block her phone number. Right.
Answering her phone calls.
Right.
And her, you can't act shocked that he's using you. She's smart enough to know.
Yeah.
So she knows what she's doing. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, I know.
But next time, we are going to meet his girlfriend, which I sent you the sneak peek of that.
Yeah.
I think we've already talked about, we think it's what's her face's sister,
yeah.
but we'll see. Mm-hmm. Then really what we're going to get into is the juicy bits of the details of what happens with Gino and Jasmine.
Yeah.
So I thought they covered it, but apparently there's going to be mostly a full episode about that, and I will happily watch that to get more into the nitty-gritty of it.
Mm. Right. Yeah, it really could have all been next week, but I mean, oh well. Sitting.
All right. Why are we here? I'm so excited. And it's so good. It is already good. I'm very happy.
Yeah, it's a banger. The Valley Season 2, Episode 1, they called it Separation Anxiety. Definitely.
So what's super fun is this one was really a catch-up of this is what has happened since last summer.
Yeah.
And last summer, so much has happened. So Janet and Jason had their baby. Jesse and Michelle are getting a divorce and they are separated. And of course, the big thing is Jax and Brittany are also separated now.
Yeah.
Which chances are, if you have been watching Vanderpump and then you watched any of the Valley, you know all of the news. I think we talk about them at the end because there's so much to cover. But I think we just recap where we are in the drama of the group. And one of the things that they started this episode with was Jesse. So Jesse, he's got the big house. He's there with Isabella. Their daughter, is going back and forth. Yeah. And he ends up having Kristen over. From last season, he lost his shit at Kristen. There was a fight in the hallway that turned into almost a fist fight because Kristen is screaming that Michelle's been cheating on him. And he brings Kristen over and he walks her through an apology. Like, he is so sorry that he treated her like shit last year. She was right. And he was projecting all of his frustrations on her instead of acknowledging what was going on in his marriage, which is probably that Michelle was cheating on him.
Yeah.
I thought it was a very good apology. However, every single part of that made my skin crawl. Because
Absolutely.
Kristen's like, who am I to not give people second chances? She's like, I really appreciate it. It means so much to me. He's talking about how it feels like as they've separated and he's in the middle of this divorce, everyone has to go Team Jesse or Team Michelle. And Kristen goes, Team Jesse when she used to be best friends with Michelle. That was gross to me. Watching that, were you like, I don't know how you feel about that.
No, that was all such a doty thing to do. It was when I talk to coworkers about the Valley or Kristen, they always say, do you like Kristen? And I say, I like Kristen so much more than I did when I watched her on Vanderpump Rules. So Kristen on the Valley, I believe, has obviously matured because she's older. Not necessarily a lot of people when they get older mature. Thank you, Jax Taylor. But I think there are two Kristens. Kristen that was on Vanderpump and Kristen now on the Valley. And some of Kristen from the Vanderpump Rules era comes out. And that's what that was. Sometimes she's a normal human being on the Valley. And so I do like her. I think it's 80-20. That's my overall opinion. But watching that, I got the ick, and I thought she was Vanderpump, Kristen, when she said all of that. No.
It was just such an unnecessary thing to say. Like, she's making it such a point that she's Team Jesse now. Let's talk about the reality of, as an adult, those friend groups that get formed. This doesn't exist in real life.
Correct.
Right?
That is correct, especially when you are divorced.
Yeah.
And when I want to talk about the white party as well, when Michelle brings her boyfriend to the white party and Jesse is there talking to all of them. Yeah. This doesn't happen as a person who's been divorced. This whole thing doesn't happen in real life or the real world. So no, that's not real. That's not how this works. And Jesse is a narcissist and he's a manipulator, and I mean, his apology was warranted towards Kristen. No, it completely gave me the ick. And
all of this, like, I've really been working on myself and I've really been reflecting, and
divorce is really hard. Yeah, all of those things are fine. Yes, divorce is difficult, sir, but you should have apologized when it happened a year ago.
I mean, but he's doing it to try and build up a posse.
No, he's trying to create this divide. He's trying on purpose to do Team Jesse or Team Michelle. He is creating that. That's what he's doing.
Yeah.
On purpose.
So we also see another couple that I do love. I really love them. So we saw Danny and Mia. Danny, the voice actor, and Mia, the former pageant queen. They are the couple that is the most, I think, the strongest couple. They've got the 3 under 3.
Yeah.
In a teeny tiny condo. Although Matt and I need to figure out how many square feet it was. Because I remember being like, they're in a teeny tiny condo. And Matt's like, I think it's like a 3,000 foot condo.
Yeah, I think he's right.
They're in West Hollywood still.
Yes.
And they are in a condo. He wants a yard. He wants to go. He's been saying it since season 1. Santa Clarita. He wants to buy a mini mansion where he will have space and room. Mm-hmm. She does not want to leave where they're at. Mm-hmm. She likes being in the city. She's pushing for another baby.
Yeah.
She wants baby number 4. So they have twins that are what? Like 2? Not quite 2. And then a 3-year-old. Their home seems like chaos. Like they're framing it as basically they're still in survival mode. They're happy. They love each other. It seems like they haven't had a date night in like a year of a time that they can just sit and talk to each other. And she starts explaining that she's ready to have another baby. And he's like, well, then we need to move. She doesn't want to move. And then he says something about how she like has been trying to leg lock him, which is like, holy shit. That, I mean, I know they're married, but I feel like that's crossing the line. And she was like, yeah, I definitely have. And I mean, he laughs it off. I don't know how you try and force another baby when the other person is.
Here's the thing. She's not wrong when she says, look, I have given my body to these children and I want my body back. And a lot of people will go, ugh, I don't like that. They will cringe. They'll look at her like she is, what's the right word? I don't know, selfish, I guess, for saying that. But here's the thing, everybody. She wants to have these kids. She wants to almost get it over with. And that doesn't sound nice either. She's young enough to have these kids. She's young enough to have these kids close enough together. And her body will bounce back quick enough. And then the rest of their lives, they are still young enough to do things with their kids and do things and travel when their kids are older. You know, I had this conversation with my daughter. My daughter is almost 30 and has 2 children. When she was married at 24. She said, what do I do about having kids, Mom? Should I have kids now or should I wait? And we had this discussion and I said, honey, I really think you should have kids right now because if you have kids when you're younger, when your kids get older, you will still be young enough to go out and do things when your kids are grown and out of the house and you and your husband can go and do things. When your kids are 18 and you're 60, that's not fun. When your kids are in high school and you're 60, that's not fun either. I said, you have got to do the math and think about it. So she was like, yep, I'm having kids now. So she started to have kids. She's like, this is right for me. She really liked having that discussion. People don't think about it like that. So that is what Nia is trying to explain to Danny. This is my body. She is saying that because in the long run, she wants to be able to be young enough to go do things with her kids and her husband and not be in their 60s and 70s when their kids are little, right?
Yeah.
That's what she means, not
and
being selfish.
the other side of it, I think also she's saying, these children have destroyed my body. And he's like, no, your body is my wonderland. And she's like, thank you. But that's not, when I'm having these kids, my body's not my body. And that is something I think I didn't understand.
It's true.
When I got pregnant, granted, my case is a little bit, not extreme. It's a specific situation in that I had twins. I wasn't planning on twins. I don't know how I had twins. So I've got double baby and my body should not have done that. And I ended up having to go on bed rest for 111 days, laying on my back. And that's literally, my body wasn't mine. And then they come out and your body is dedicated to feeding and caring for that child. And you can't really focus on your body when you're literally maintaining the bodies of infants. You can't. It just doesn't exist.
No.
And so she's like, right now, my body's not mine. I want it to be mine again. And I don't want to have it be mine and then have it taken away again. Oh, I get that so hard.
It's so hard to explain to someone that doesn't understand that someone else has taken your whole autonomy away from you for a short period of time, right?
It's not a resentful thing.
No. No.
But it's something that you do willingly and lovingly, hopefully. But even when it's a plan, even when you're willfully giving it up, he's 27 when the boys are born, which, again, my confidence, I think I did it at the exact right time because my brain had stopped growing. I feel like emotionally I was, and like logically, I was at a good place to do that. I had the benefit also of having an amazing support system. The boys had younger grandparents. Having grandparents that can run around, having my dad be able to wrestle the boys and throw them around, thank God, right? But I liked being able to have that, having an extra set of hands when I needed it that could physically do all the stuff, pick up little kids. Young grandparents is such a treat. But I do love them. I really love Mia and
Yeah.
although they keep giving us little sneak peeks.
I know, I'm excited for that.
Oh, I just don't want anything bad to happen to Mia ever. Kristen and Luke's in LA again, and they're actively trying to have a baby. And we find out that Kristen, and I think I knew this through social media, Kristen and Luke had gotten pregnant and she had a miscarriage, which is very sad.
Yes.
She's 41,
Yeah.
I think. And so she's trying to have this baby, and it's a lot harder when you're older.
Yeah.
From that is stemming some big drama between her and Janet. Janet had her baby last year. They had all gotten into fights. Kristen is best friends with Zach. Zach had said, and I remember this from last season, and they show it a couple times. Zach and Janet have never been friends. They've never really seen eye to eye. So when he and she had gotten into a fight about something last year, and someone's like, you have to back up Janet. Janet is 8 months pregnant.
Yes.
You don't get to get into a fight. You don't get to confront her. She is pregnant. You could literally upset her to the point that she could lose this baby. You could cause a health issue. And he was drinking and he was all, riled up. And he's like, well, I don't care. And I don't think he really meant, I don't want her baby to get to term. But I think he was just so frustrated with that situation. Do I think it's okay to say that? No, of course not. I think that it's kind of been taken out of context, and they've talked about it in podcasts and things, which is what has caused the rift between Janet and Kristen. I'm on nobody's team for this fight. Brittany took this situation, and not that what he said was okay, but also he wasn't wishing death on the child. I think he was just saying, I don't care that she's pregnant, she's being a bitch. How did you interpret that?
Well, I don't.
Also, I don't like Zach.
Oh.
If Zach left the show, I would not care.
Oh. I like Zach.
Okay.
I think if Jasmine left the show, I wouldn't care. I really don't care about Jasmine. Jasmine's a kind of meh character for me.
She's just not entwined enough for me.
Has more connections, but I agree with what you said that I think he was just drunk in the moment. I don't think he meant anything by it. I think, was it about the baby moon thing that he didn't get invited to the baby moon? That was the whole anyway, I think that's what it was. But someone mentioned in this episode that maybe Brittany might be low-key scared of Janet. So I think that's why Brittany said something to Janet about what Zach said to get on Janet's good side. And so maybe spun it a little out of context. I think that's why it went left and not right. So again, I like Zach. I like him on the show. I like he and Kristen as friends. I like the drama between he and Janet. I do not like Janet at all. I didn't like her last season. I don't like her. I have never liked her. I think Jason is way too good for her. I do not know how the two of them got together.
He is so in love with her.
Yes, and I do not understand that relationship at all. That being said, it doesn't make sense. Again, I agree with what you said. I think it got spun out of control. I don't think Zach meant it like that at all. And I think Janet is using it to just point and say, look, this is what he said. This is why I don't like him, blah, blah, blah.
Over and over and over and over again.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so when Janet is talking about saying apparently she's been trying to lay the groundwork of reconnecting with Kristen.
Yeah.
And then Kristen's like, she hasn't talked to me. She said that I wished her death on her baby. She's like, I just had a miscarriage. Like,
yeah.
Oh, Janet picked the wrong person at the wrong time.
Yeah.
She's like, I would never do that. They end up going to Brittany's white party.
Yeah.
Which is just getting all the friends. And that party was huge.
I know.
It was like 100 people at that party.
I know.
What was the point of that party?
I think it was free Brittany. That's what they said at the end.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
Well, don't do it when you get divorced, though. But so she has this big party, and so finally Dodie and Janet are going to be at the same place. Janet comes in, starts it so great. She's like, last summer was really hard. I want to reconnect and try and get back to that place that was really good between us. We've had years of good times. Like, I don't want that to define what we are. And Kristen's not. And you see Janet unravel. So in this sense, Kristen was so right, because you see Janet do exactly what Kristen's like, I don't really trust you because you lumped me in on something that he said. I would never say that. How dare you lump me in on that? And she's like, well, you're a demonic friend.
See?
God damn it, Janet.
Yep.
And Kristen's like, he is my best friend. I don't condone what he did. But like, calling him a demonic person isn't going to help us move forward.
Yep.
That drama is just interesting. And it's funny because then we have the after show, which had Sheena and Lala and Schwartz was in there. And so they're chiming in because they've all been really good friends.
I think it is so funny that Sheena is sitting with Janet. Of course, Sheena is sitting with Janet and siding with Janet because, you know, Sheena is probably low-key afraid of Janet also and is going to be besties with her too and not be like, yeah, I don't like you and I'm going to stand up to you and be like, no.
Why is everyone afraid of Janet?
I don't know.
I listened to, I want to say it was Brittany's podcast where she was doing it with Janet, and they explained the background. Janet had been visiting LA with a friend, and they ran into the Vanderpump Rules crew. The friend didn't know who Vanderpump Rules were, but Janet did. And Janet was taking pictures with everybody, and then just hit it off with, I think, Sheena and Brittany, and became friends. Janet is in the background friends with all of that crew. She was there when Ariana had all of the friends at the house after she found out that Tom had cheated on her. That was when Ariana's crying and everyone circled around and she's like, Janet's here. That's Janet.
Okay.
But why is she so powerful?
This is what I don't know. I have no idea.
They say it for 2 seconds of like later on this season, someone's like, you're just a fan. And Janet said, I was a fan of Vanderpump Rules. I watched all of that. So she is like living my dream of she ran into them in LA, became friends, and now is just intertwined into that friendship.
Yeah.
And married a lawyer that like is going to finance her life. She's not going to work ever again.
I don't know.
I mean, good for maybe it's just that she like speaks things into existence. Like, she's good at manifesting.
Maybe.
And maybe it's because Janet's such fantastic reality TV. She does have it. Whatever it is, like, she's meant to be on TV.
Okay.
Not that you like her.
That's true.
But she's good on TV.
Okay.
She's fun.
Yes, Kristen did not accept her apology. Janet had none of it and walked away.
Before the white party, Janet and Jason have had their baby. Janet was really not a baby person, even though she was pregnant all last season. And now she's like, everything's changed. She had a nose Frida. Did you have nose Fridas? Your grandkids probably had a nose Frida. The thing where you suck the snot out of their nose.
I didn't do those. I had the blue thing.
Oh.
I didn't do those. My daughter has the nose.
Nose freed is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't have the sponge in there, you'll suck the snot into your mouth. Which I've done. It's horrific. And she's like, you don't even care because it's your baby. I want to talk to you about this. I do care. I think I gagged constantly. I changed not that many poopy diapers because Matt was like, poop smell? No problem. This is my child. And I was like, this is your child. I throw up in my mouth. I did not experience the thing where it's like, you don't even mind when it's your baby. I mind it. If they start throwing up, spit up like the milk spit up that happened, that's whatever. But like actual vomit, even to this day, I'm like, oh, Dad. Did you feel that way? Like it's your baby, so it doesn't matter to you?
No, it was my baby. It didn't matter. I was fine. Vomit, poop, pee, everything, snot, all over me. It was fine. I didn't care. My ex-husband did nothing. Zero, anything. Getting
Like
up in the middle. No, yep, absolutely nothing. So I was good.
Speaking of Jesse and Michelle, last season, it came out that like Jesse never got up for a night feeding, only very occasionally changed her diaper.
Yep, huge red flag right there already.
That's bad.
Mm-hmm.
That's really bad. And then we find out Jesse and Jason are good friends, and Jax good friends, and they have a thing called the boys chat. Danny's in the boys chat. Apparently, there's like 22 dudes in this boys chat. What adults are doing this shit? It seems insane to me. I have like 3 friends. I used to have a ton of friends, but then I turned 25
and
I
grew up.
Yeah, who's maintaining all of these friendships?
I don't know. You're my friend. That's what I have. I have you.
Yeah. No. You're my best friend.
I don't have a friend. I have you.
What are we doing? I just don't understand how are they in a group chat that has that many people in it that's not like who you're related to.
Right. Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. And apparently it's disgusting. The women are talking about how they had accidentally seen it and they're like, no, I can't unsee what I've seen. Yeah. I want to know more about what the boys chat is, and I'm also terrified to know what the boys chat is.
I have a slight idea of what it is, only because Steve has told me what goes on at his work, what they do actually in person. So, I mean, if any of that goes on in a group chat, I think it's pretty disgusting. So, I mean, they take pictures of their bowel movements at their job and show it to each other, and or bring each other in and be like, dude, look what I just did.
That's just for for research and development purposes, right?
They do that. I mean, things like that. So I would guess something along those lines.
Well, so gross.
Yes.
I guess Michelle has been dating this guy named Aaron. Jesse has met Aaron at Isabella's birthday party. I guess they decided mutually that was okay and what they were going to do. But Jesse threw out a line that was like, is there anybody at this place that wants to blow me other than this guy? What the hell does that mean? That's the first thing he says to the group of everyone.
Yeah, I didn't
understand. He's like, this guy wants to blow me?
Understand what that was supposed to mean.
And he was so proud of it, and I have no idea what that meant.
Yeah. I don't know. If someone out there wants to help us, we don't know what that means. We're chicks.
Someone? Well, no, I don't. Matt didn't get it either.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't make sense to me. And his big concern is Aaron the person that Michelle had been cheating on him with before, but none of that has been confirmed. It sounds like throughout the season, he's going to be trying to get that. But also, this separation and divorce process for the two of them is going very badly.
Yeah.
Jesse told Michelle that he's going to do whatever he can to destroy her life.
Yeah. Because he's a narcissist and he believes that he still owns her. I'm sorry.
And he's looking for revenge.
And you don't, sir. It's over. She doesn't live with you anymore. She has moved on, and he clearly has not. Yeah. No, this isn't good.
Either of them really have. They're still in the process in their co-parenting, so I think obviously it's going to take a while. but they're in interviews throwing jabs at each other back and forth. She at least says something shitty and goes, oh my God, I shouldn't have said that.
Here's the thing with co-parenting. Because you're co-parenting doesn't mean that you haven't moved on. So you're co-parenting. Co-parenting means you're focusing on the child. It doesn't mean that you are in that other adult's life. Okay?
Right.
Are you following with me? So
Yep.
I am with my ex-husband and my daughter. I was not in my ex-husband's life. I was co-parenting with him. I am not in his life. I am in my daughter's life. If I need to drop her off at his house or he needs to bring her to my house, that, or we discuss, right, she's failing math, or we're going to Hawaii, or he's going to Mexico with her, or whatever is happening, or right, she's being bullied at school, or something is happening, that is co-parenting. We are not in each other's life. I don't want people to get sideways on that. People seem to think that co-parenting means you are in the other adult's life. You are not. If you are choosing to be in that other person's life. Sorry, I'm not in your life anymore. Don't call me. Don't come to my house. We are not married. We are not living together. We have nothing to do with each other. We are not in a relationship. This is why I don't understand these two people at the white party talking in a group setting. Jesse coming over and talking to Michelle and her boyfriend. Like, I get they're on this show. Like, people, come on, don't get sideways with me. They're on a show.
Sure.
We're watching this reality. They're in a group together. Like, I get that. In normal human world, this does not happen. When I got a divorce from my husband, our friends picked him or they picked me. That is it. That's it. They don't see the both of us. We don't hang out together anymore.
There's no reality version that Brittany would have been like, Jesse should come to my party.
Right.
Like, Jesse should not have been there.
Right. 100%.
And although I do believe that if there was some reason that they were at a party that had nothing to do with the TV show together, I do believe that Jesse would have walked straight up to her and said exactly what he said.
Oh, yeah.
Because he was sitting there trying to, like,
get a rise out of
goad
her
into freaking out. And she's like, hey, just so you know, I met with this person to help get Isabella into one of the top schools. His response is, how could you talk to someone about our daughter without me there? And she's like, this is well within my right as a parent to go have it. And I'm telling you about it.
Yep.
I don't have to get your permission to do this. And he's like, well, I might be moving her down to Orange County to go to Newport Beach in a completely different school system. She's like, you don't live there. And he's like, well, I might. She's like, she's already at the school. She's like, well,
no,
sir. And the fact that it's documented that he never changed a diaper, and that he has her like 2 days a week.
These people are choosing to be in their life. And like I said, in reality, in normal, we're not filming a television show. If you're in your ex-spouse's life, you're choosing to do that. That is not real. When you co-parent, it doesn't mean you are in your spouse's life. That's not a thing. I don't take my kid to school and then I run over to my ex-husband's house and be like, what are you doing? That's not a thing. We are not together anymore. This isn't real. She doesn't have to ask him to have a conversation with another adult about their child. He doesn't have to do that either. He can have a conversation with another adult about their child and not have to ask her. Just the same. It's exactly the same thing. But he goats her to get under her skin on purpose because he's a narcissist and a piece of shit. And that's just what he's going to do.
I said that just to wind her up.
Yep. That's what he's going to do.
He's doing it just to piss her off.
Oh, yeah. And when he talks about this new girl that he's dating, oh my God.
She's like a strong woman and she will call me out And Michelle never did that. She just stayed quiet, and then she complains about it later.
I don't know that that was even a thing. Yeah, that is blaming Michelle for Jesse's bad behavior. No, that's even worse. That's just absolutely terrible. That made me sick when he said that. Absolutely sick.
I don't understand why anyone likes Jesse.
100%. Does he want his daughter to be in a relationship with a person like him? Like, this is what I don't understand about these types of men that have daughters, that live with them. Do you not understand that? This is what you're showing your daughter, that it's okay to be this type of man around a woman and treat a woman like that. It's disgusting. And
in this case, it comes up also this episode that he's been buying every single thing, really going out of his way to go over the top, spoiling his daughter.
yeah.
And then Michelle's boyfriend, Aaron, makes a comment about it, which not for you to say. Are you right? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Shut up, Aaron.
Yeah.
You're brand new. But also, he's like, yeah, I'm going to buy my daughter whatever I want. I don't think he considers his daughter ever growing up and being in a relationship.
Right.
Because I think he only considers his daughter in relation to himself.
Oh, like an object. His daughter is not an individual person. She's just this object, like a lamp, or a chair. She's just a nothing. Yeah. It's bad.
And he sucks. He's bad.
Mm-hmm.
Who is worse?
Oh, Jax Taylor.
Jax Taylor. Jax fucking Taylor.
Yeah.
Jason Couchy, hot garbage. So this is the beginning of the season. We are going to progress. However, we also live in the time that is right now. So we're watching what's happening to him now.
Yeah.
And he's talking in interviews right now, going back to this time, which things are very bad between him and Brittany.
Yeah.
Brittany moved out. She's in an apartment, like an Airbnb. He's taking Cruz with her. And I heard in an interview that basically what had happened is she wanted Jax to leave.
Yep.
He refused to leave, so she took Cruz and left. Jax says, I'm not going to leave. This is my house. I don't believe in divorce. So he forces her to go. So they are now separated. She's had that, free Britney party. He is fully just like Jesse in revenge mode.
Yeah.
So he is doing everything he can to throw Britney under the bus.
Yep.
And I'm not saying that Britney's perfect, but I do think that she is doing her best in this situation. I think she genuinely loved Jax. I think she genuinely has done what she can to make that marriage work. And then it finally is clicking, oh, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So they're separated.
Yeah.
They have decided they can both see other people.
Yep.
Last year we saw Jax on Instagram out with different girls, taking them to his bar that he'd built with his wife. Gross. Brittany also allowed to go see other people. That was what they decided was the rules of their separation. She started seeing a guy that was kind of Jax's friend, or was Jax's, one of his better friends at that time. He's not Tom Schwartz. This guy's name is Julian.
Yeah.
You see him in the background of a couple scenes. I guess as things started to maybe settle down between Jax and Brittany are still doing their podcast together. They're still running this bar together. They're trying to take care of their son, who's been recently diagnosed with autism, together. And maybe they're going to work things out. Well, she goes out of town. Jax finds the iPad that their son Cruz plays on that is her iPad, and it has all of her text messages on it. And when Stefani Gavin Rosdale goes through everything and sees that she had been talking to this guy, Julian, he reads all of the messages, sees the sexy pictures that she sent to Julian, and goes, "You're cheating on me. We were talking about possibly getting back together. Things have been going well." And had like a huge explosive fight. And what seems crazy to me is that even to this day, right now, yesterday, he did an interview where he was like, can you believe that she would do that to me? But I had a big emotional reaction, but can't you understand why I would have such a big reaction at her when she was sending these videos to one of my best friends? But he had a violent reaction. He flipped a table. It turned her leg black and blue. He's screaming, raging. He's like, it was awful. I shouldn't have done that. I was drunk. You find out later he was drunk and also on cocaine. But he will not admit that she did not have that conversation recently. She said that it had been, weeks or months before and that things had changed and she had stopped seeing that guy. And he's like, no, I saw the dates. It's like, okay, you were drunk and high. You admit that you were drunk and high, but you will not admit that the dates were wrong. It doesn't make sense. He just sucks. And he wants everyone to look everywhere but at what he has done. He injured his wife in a fit of rage because she had a relationship with someone else. When they were separated, they both agreed, and I'm so disgusted.
Yeah, so she called Janet and Jason. They came over and helped her, stayed with her. She, in the interim, is doing interviews and talking to people because he's doing interviews and talking to people about her, which is kind of ironic because he starts out these interviews with journalists saying, right, look, I've done something wrong. Look, I'm trying to change my life. I've been bad, but I'm trying to get on the right path. But she did X, Y, and Z. And at the end of the interview, now Brittany is the predator and the abuser and the bad person, and Jax is the victim by the end of what they have started.
It's so insane.
Yeah.
He can't even follow his own logic.
Yeah.
He starts off every interview with, we're really trying to co-parent. We're really trying to find our common ground. We're working really hard to have this good relationship. Where I come from, you don't talk badly about the other person and then eviscerates her.
Yeah.
And he ends it over and over. What he keeps saying is, why didn't she leave? Why was she trying to have a baby with me? Why didn't she try and do all these things? You are so full of shit.
Yeah.
And he's like, I've been diagnosed with bipolar. I've been diagnosed OCD. I've been diagnosed PTSD. And I've been addicted to cocaine for 20 years. And I'm drinking too much. And I realize it's all because of social anxiety. He can see all of those things. And then he's like, how come she didn't try harder?
But
she's
it's her fault.
Trying
Yeah.
for 10 years to get him to get help. I loved this man. I thought I could help this man. I thought that we were going to work it out. He loved bombed me. He would manipulate me. He would tell me that it would get better and it would be better for a while. And then she's calling her over and over. And then she's getting these text messages and she can read them. She's like, oh, so you're not answering my texts now? And he's just abusive in these.
Yep.
He's harassing her.
Yep.
He's defaming her.
Yep.
And he is acting, he genuinely, I think, sees himself as the victim. He's like, I'm working on myself now and I'm really trying. And he's the victim of his disease, which I definitely can understand that addiction and alcoholism is a disease. And they say in AA that you're really, you have to acknowledge that you're powerless and that sort of thing. And I understand that, but I think that he's using it as an excuse. Part of me really doesn't believe that he's totally sober right now.
Oh, agree.
Just the way that he's behaving. And if he is totally sober and he's behaving like this, then he is definitely a narcissist and definitely a dangerous person.
Absolutely.
Because he's continuing a lot of these dangerous, abusive behaviors.
Absolutely. If she's having to record him showing up unannounced, uninvited at her home that she's living in with their child alone because he's so erratic, that is unsafe behavior. Not knowing if he's actually sober or what's going on, that's incredible to me. And then having these interviewers, having this press and these journalists saying to her, he seems so great and he seems like he's doing so well. What do you think? These interviewers, he is doing his job, is what I am taking away from this, because all of these people have fallen into his trap that he is the number one guy in this group and he is the greatest.
Yeah.
And they feel bad for him and he is the victim. They're not treating the interviewer is not treating Brittany poorly, but the first thing they say to her is, he seems so great now. He seems sorry. He seems like he's doing well. What do you think? So they are saying these things to the person who's been abused. You don't do that to the abused. They should be asking her how she is. And in turn, poor Brittany says, well, I have to live my life by, right? I have cameras. I have to record him. You don't know what I have to live like. Now she has to justify how she lives instead of saying, thank you for asking. I'm really trying hard. I feel much better that I'm away from him. He has completely flipped the script on the media out there, which is what he was meant to do. And it's really sickening and disgusting. And sad.
The other thing that sucks is you see Nia says, at the beginning of this, at the beginning of their separation, Nia and Kristen were really on the side of, we know that Jax isn't perfect. Hopefully you guys can figure this out. And Jax is then throwing in her face, we slept together again. You told me we might be moving back in together. You were spending time with me. And you made me believe that, this is going to happen again.
Yeah.
If you're really done with me, why aren't you just cutting everything off? Then you see if she doesn't cut it off, escalates into her getting a table thrown at her.
Right.
And injuring her.
Right.
Turning her black and blue. She could have called the police. She said, I could have called the police. Instead, what I did is I called Janet and Jason and I had them come over. Everyone goes, he's the smartest one. He's the most level-headed one. And he came and that's how they managed it.
Yeah.
And she's like, but if it ever happens again, I'm calling the police.
Yeah.
And I think that has Jax just a little bit scared, just enough that it's kind of keeping her safe right now. But she loves him still, I think. And she's just in this shitty situation where she is going to be told that she didn't do enough or she didn't try hard enough. And for some reason, Jax is painting himself as the victim over and over again. And some people are getting sucked in by that.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't understand that. So he's twisting the fact that they had sex or they talked about moving in together because they were communicating correctly, they were having a good time, they were co-parenting well, they were being a good cohesive family unit. And she was commenting to Kristen and Nia, this is the guy that I fell in love with, and where has this man been for the last however many years or months or whatever you want to say. And so then he love bombs her with these things. And she says, I have this moment of weakness and this is what we do. But then he takes that and he uses it against her and he twists it and throws it out to the media and says, then why is she sleeping with me? So now it's her fault. Why is she coming over? Oh, okay. All right. So it's her fault. Yeah, you bet. That's it. Yeah. So then you throw
because her husband was kind to her.
Yeah. So it's her fault. Thank you. All right. Thank you. You bet.
A couple times he brings up, I don't know who to blame. Do I blame that guy Julian for being the reason that I got so angry? Is it Brittany's fault for leading me on?
Oh my God.
And he's like, I'm learning through therapy. It's me to blame. But then he also keeps blaming Brittany.
Yeah.
And he also keeps mostly he's blaming Brittany, but he also kind of blames Julian. And then he goes, but I realized I pushed her away. And it's really me who deserves the blame. And you're like, oh, he's really falling on his sword. Oh, anybody that takes him at face value is... I would love to have a conversation with someone who is fully on Jax Taylor's side that isn't Jax Taylor. Even Jesse's like, yeah, you can't regulate yourself emotionally at all.
Yeah. Right. Or Tom Schwartz. Tom Schwartz is like, what are you doing? Right. This is, Yeah, they have that conversation in Jax's bar.
The Jax party.
Yeah, the Jax
The
party.
Jax party that he had the same night to try and get people to not go to Brittany's party.
Right. Yeah.
And even Jesse didn't go, which I find hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, how come all the guys are going here? And they're like, no, all the guys are going to Brittany's because we've already planned that. And you planned this last minute.
Yeah.
I love that, like, the guys was mostly people that we've never seen before. The one guy who has a permed mullet and he just keeps trying to bring it up in conversation. And then also one of Tom Schwartz's triplet brothers is there.
Yeah.
Well,
That's great.
That was very sweet. And then Tom Schwartz is there. Tom Schwartz talked to Brittany and he says, Tom Schwartz in the most Tom Schwartz way is like, yeah, you're really messed up. But somehow he says it in a way that is comforting and also like, he'll tell you that it's all your fault, but he says it to you in a tone that's like,
in a Schwartz
way. It's not
way.
your fault, you sweet
Right.
baby. You are having a really hard time regulating your emotions and you made this all really dangerous.
Yeah.
It's hard for you to regulate your emotions.
Yeah.
And somehow he like stays on everyone's good side and he like will not see anyone actually being at fault for any of it.
Yeah.
But I will say, Tom Schwartz, I'm actually very thrilled that we're going to be seeing him. It sucks that the only times I think we are going to see him is when he is with Jax, but I'm glad that he's on my TV again.
Yeah.
And then other faces, we're going to see Lala.
Lala.
And apparently, Lala met Julian, such an incestuous group, back when she was hostessing at
Sir.
Vanderpump.
Yeah.
It's Sir.
Yeah.
That was the restaurant's name. She had this very emotional interview in the after show where she's like crying. She's like, no one told me that you were hooking up with Julian until after, so I had to sit you down. It just really was triggering for me that someone would know something that I didn't know. What the hell? Why are you? You're a grown woman being like, no one told me.
Oh, she said Randall kept things from her. She was upset. She was triggered because of Randall.
Maybe. But also she's talking about how she's not even triggered by Randall at all anymore. So.
Well, that's true. She did say Brittany, and she's right. One day the ex-husband will not trigger you anymore and you will just not, he just won't be a thing. And she's right. It does come. So
I do hope that, Brittany, because she's not going to be free of Jax for a very long time.
Yeah.
Right? Like, even if she disengages, he is going to follow her around. I doubt Randall was half as tenacious as Jax.
Yeah, you're right. But I honestly, I don't know that Jax is going to be such a great dad. I hate kind of saying that. I don't think he's going to be so involved with their son. But I honestly think he might give up too with Brittany. I think he might give up a little bit. I hope so. So I don't know if he's going to be in her life so much. He is just so much about himself that at one point he's going to be like, oh, there's a mirror. Oh, look at me. I'm just going to, and then he will follow himself somewhere else because he really likes himself. And him and Cruz and Brittany will fall to the wayside. And, once in a while he might throw them some money, maybe. I don't know.
I think that you're 100% right.
Yeah. In the preview, when he's going to rehab, he's like, I won't be able to see my son for a whole month. Sir, I don't know that you've seen him at all for however many months you've been away from Brittany. So I don't know that this one extra month is going to do anything, but whatever.
No. And now she can't trust Cruz alone with him. He's so erratic.
Yeah.
And he fully accepts that. I mean, I have not been in a relationship with children that was tumultuous like that, but I would think that if someone said to me, I don't know that I trust you with your kids, and if I know that I am safe with my children, someone saying that to me would be insane. Even Michelle is not saying that to Jesse.
Yeah.
Right?
That's saying something. Right?
Right. So Jax, without a fight, going, I'm not allowed to see my son without supervision,
Yep.
without a court order or anything in place,
Yep.
I think says a lot about Jax.
Oh, yeah.
And I think he's doing a lot of like, the only thing I'm living for is my son. Doesn't ring true to
Yeah.
me. But this whole season, I think obviously the focus is mostly going to be on watching Jax unravel and seeing where that goes.
Yeah.
And kind of watching Brittany's journey, I think is going to be my biggest focus. But there's a lot that's going to happen. I think the Jesse Michelle stuff is going to be nuts. I think everything with Janet is going to be nuts. I don't understand why Janet and Nia are not cool. Is Nia going to get pregnant again? Are they going to move? Kristen, I think, gets engaged. There's so much that this season is going to be, and I can't wait.
It's going to be awesome. I'm so happy.
What are you most excited about?
I really want to see more Jesse and Michelle just because he is just a effing train wreck. I mean, I really dislike Jesse quite a bit, but their relationship and their divorce and seeing them together in that friend group, like I've said, 4 or 5 times already, that's not real. But watching them within that friend group and her just bringing that boyfriend around is so interesting to me. And her just strutting her stuff and be like, "Yep, that's my man. This is my boyfriend. Jesse, fuck right off. He's just going to sit right here with me and you're just going to have to watch it." And I hope we get to see this new girlfriend of his sometime. I'm excited to see the two of them just go back. I like Michelle. I know a lot of people don't like her. I like her. I hate him. It's not because I hate him that I like her, but I like her.
I think that she is one of these people that's so quiet that you would mistake her for boring.
Yeah.
And then you find out all of the shit.
Yeah.
Like, oh, she's like
Yeah.
going to the Chateau Marmont
Yeah.
and meeting up with clients
Yep.
and getting accused of being an escort by her ex-husband.
Yeah.
And was cheating on her
Yep.
husband for a year before,
Yep.
and everyone knows about it. And then she's sitting there like very quiet.
I low-key want to high-five her and be like, "Of course you cheated on Jesse. He's a piece of shit and treated you like garbage. I would have cheated on him
And
too."
he didn't even notice.
Yeah. Of course he didn't notice. He's too busy looking at himself and treating her like shit, right?
I don't know if I like her or dislike her. I know that I find her so interesting,
Yeah.
and I want to know more.
Yeah.
I want to understand.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that.
And I want all the juicy
I get
details.
that.
It's going to be good.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Well,
my God, part 4 next week. Okay.
I mean, next episode is going to be just nonstop. Gina, Jess, Jax, Brittany, Michelle, Jesse. There's just mess, people. So
Lord.
much mess.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Well, everyone, get some rest because we got a big week next
Here
week.
we go. Get ready.
I love you.
I love you.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.